Hey y'all, I'm fixing to create a new border in front of along one of my flower beds, and I'm gonna do it out of this variegated lorry rope grass, lyre rope, however you pronounce it. I love this grass. It's almost like an evergreen in my area, and this can actually go in full sun, part sun, complete shade. I have it in all three different types of areas, and it's great. So I'm going to use this. Um, I'm going to dig it up and divide it, and I'll show y'all how I do that, and plant it around the front of one of my flower beds. I think it's really going to make it stand out. The variegation in it's just so pretty. This is the area, the flower bed that I'm going to create the border. You can see it really doesn't have a border. In the spring, it has daffodils, which growing up here, we always just call them buttercups, but they're actually daffodils. So this is the border or the flower bed that's going to have the border on it. I'm just going to show y'all a quick little what it looks like before I do this, so you can see. I think it's really gonna look good here on the front of this. So let me go dig it up. They're all dug up. I ended up having 6. So now let's get them divided, and then I'll start placing them and figuring out where I want to put them along this border. Okay, since I've got 6 of these, I'm going to start out by just cutting them in half. And then I'll lay them out and see how many I've got. And some I may end up having to cut into 3 pieces, which is fine. I mean, it's just, whatever you're doing. And this is how I'm going to do it. I'm just going to look for the center and just cut them in 2 like this. And you're going to lose some leaves, but that's also fine. These grow really quick. And so here will be 2 right here. And I'm going to finish cutting the other 5. And then I'll show you once I get them laid out. And if I need to cut another one in, or maybe a couple of them into another half, I'll do that. But let's get these cut, and then I'll bring y'all right back. This one's really big, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it into 3. And so if it's something that you know you're going to cut into 3, just go ahead and cut it almost in half. I'll leave that one as 1. And then I will take this one and cut it into another half. And y'all, these are going to be so pretty next year because these do grow really fast and they just make a big clump. Okay, this is kind of the layout that I'm thinking they're going to go. As I'm digging the holes, I may end up spacing them a little bit different, but this is one side of this walkway, and then we're going to go on around this way, and you can see they're actually going to go all the way around this whole corner to the next walkway, which goes into where I got a flower pit. And I got to plant this abelia too. It's also going right where I've got it set, and I don't know if I'll plant it in this video, but we'll see. So let me get all these holes dug. I ended up dividing 2 of them into 3. So I took 6 plants, 6 little clumps. Well, they wasn't too little, but 6 clumps, and I ended up with 15. Ended up with 15 clumps. And next year, these will look so good because they'll fill out pretty quick. And you won't even really be able to tell that these were dug up and replanted. They're kind of like a hosta. Except for, in my area, these don't die all the way to the ground during the wintertime. They still... So that's another reason I wanted to put it here. So I would have some evergreen color around this flower bed. Plus, I needed to put something in the front to make it, have a border, a defined area. So let me get these planted in the ground, and then I'll be back. This is a little tip. When you're doing something where you're planting a border, or you're planting, more than, 2 or 3, if you're planting, say, 3 of something or more, or especially if you're doing a border, go ahead and dig your holes and drop the plant in it and watch it, look at it and see, are they, do they look spaced right, the distance between them. Excuse me. Because right here I didn't do that, and I know to do that, but I didn't do it. So I'm either going to have to dig this middle one up and slide it over to the left a little bit, or I'm going to have to put another small one in between there, which might be what I do, because I think there's a little too much distance even if I slide it over. But once I covered those up and I saw that, I went on ahead and dug the rest of my holes and dropped the plants in them. And so they look pretty close to being right, the rest of them. So all of these now are ready to be covered up. But I'm going to have to do something over there. So I'll show y'all what I end up doing once I get all these covered up. Well, I ended up adding another one. And I know it looks a little weird right now because it's short. But it'll catch up. It'll be fine. Next summer you won't even know that it was half the height as the other ones. But it was in a place where for the past 2 summers it's just not done good. And so I thought, well, I'll go ahead and move it and put it in that spot. And I know these will probably look a little closer than some of the other ones, but that's also okay, because once they get a little bigger, I'll probably take the one on the end and move it to the right just a little. They may all get shifted just a little once they grow a year or 2. We'll see, but this looks so much better. I think it looks so good. Now it has a defined border, which is something that this whole area right here was missing. While these look, small and little right now, probably by the end of next summer, and it might take them 2 years to get, full and thick and pretty. Well, they'll be pretty regardless, but they might not be as thick and full. But they will eventually, within the next year to 2 years, the whole front of this border is going to look like that. That's what they'll look like once they get, reach maturity. And so that's another reason I'm putting them in the front of this border. I think these are they're beautiful. And I love them. And I can't wait till next spring and summer. Probably about midsummer, this is going to look really, really pretty. And I'm excited to see it. Because you can see, I went all the way over to the abelia that I hadn't planted yet. And so I think it's going to look really good next year. I've got a drift rose over there that I'm going to move. I may put it where this lemongrass is, because it's not a perennial for me. So here in a few weeks when we have a freeze, it's going to be gone and I'll have to pull it up next spring. But I may go ahead and pull it up once it freezes and move the drift rose right here, because I'd kind of like to have the drift roses coming around halfway around this side of that tall grass. We'll see. But anyways, I wanted to show y'all the difference between a defined border and one that doesn't have a border at all, which is the way this one's been for several years. And so, anyways, I hope this helps. It's a way to save money too, because if you've got something that you can dig up and divide, if this was a complete shade garden, I probably would have put hosta as the border across the front, because I love hosta. But this is a weird area right here. It gets, part of the day it gets morning sun, part of the day it's in shade, and then parts of it in, this time of day, late in the afternoon, it gets several hours of just, the harsh afternoon sun. So it's kind of a, it's a little difficult area to figure out where to put the plants, because you can't just put sun plants and you can't just put shade plants. You've got to watch the, the flower bed and figure out what areas need sun plants, what areas need shade plants, But anyways, I've got a lot of it figured out. And like I said, there's several things that's getting moved out of here, several things that's getting moved around, and some things that's just getting planted in here. And so anyways, until next time, bye.